Dark Knights of Steel, Allwinter, issue 6. Jay Kristoff writing, TIRSO Cons on the art. The backup wrapped up its story last issue, so that all the pages this time are for the main story's finale, and we wrap up the story of young Alec going to save the world, and of course all that cool stuff they revealed last issue about, oh, Maxwell Lord was the Emperor and Mr. Freeze was the or the other way around. By the way,
evil, he was evil wizard.
He was the evil wizard, and Nora was killed by accident by Deathstroke, and that's what caused the Allwinter. Was Mr. Freeze went apeshit with his powers, which I actually thought was a really cool, fun reveal. Mr. Freeze.
It was a nice way of twisting the keeping Nora alive kind of twist,
which they kept in this because she's actually in a block of ice in this issue. He
literally just froze her to keep her alive. It just froze everything else and all the sunlight by the sound of it.
Yes, which, you know, fun ideas. Yeah, it was a really good issue. I think the premise of this book has been really solid and focused. I'm not sure, like, how I feel about, like, when Alec fixes the world at the end, it bringing back, like, Deathstroke's kids to life, like, along with everyone else. That's
it seems to just undo everything pretty neatly.
Yes, bit too happy, bit too.
It doesn't jive with the rest of the vibe of the book.
Yeah, and maybe that's just because we need this for something we're going to do in Dark Knights of Steel.
It is very possible that's a request from Tom Taylor / editorial.
But I have maintained I've liked this book more than the first series, and that includes the backup. It's not just the main story. Like, I think the backup with Aquaman kind of being the Superman of this world with the Kents has actually been kind of interesting.
Well, you've got Batman's kind of the Superman as well. Superman's kind of the Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a confusing statement. I was going to correct it and say the other way around, but technically, depending on how you think about it, either is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, like Batman and what's her face? His wife, Deathstroke's wife. Adeline, thank you. Adeline shows up for like a save halfway through the issue. It's just kind of a moment. But you know, like the art's cool. Seeing the flashbacks to Slade freaking out after he's like killed Nora or almost killed Nora and try to get his family out of the city when all this stuff starts happening. You know, it feels big, it feels apocalyptic, and seeing like the actual cold take over as the color drains from the panels.
It's kind of weird in that I feel like this is one of the more underwhelming issues of the book because the ending is nothing subversive, right?
Yes.
Like it ends in a way that makes complete sense for everything this book is built to, which is very good, but also it's like not like a big compelling, like, oh my god, look, read this. It's just like, yeah, this does what it's meant to do and it does it really well. Yeah,
almost every issue has revealed something that's been really fascinating by the end, whether it was Mr. Freeze is at the center of it, or issue 1 was Alec Holland with the color and all that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been stuff like peppered throughout that have been like big reveals, and this one doesn't have that, and that's fine. I don't think it needs it, but it definitely means that, yeah, as far as like talking points go, it's probably the least exciting.
It's pretty straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like Mr. Freeze traps them all in ice at one point, and Slade begs to kill him instead of Rose, which obviously makes Rose like hug him at the end because he actually put his neck out for her. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of the big dramatic point that stuck out to me. Other than, of course, the gorgeous art when Alec actually uses his power. When he goes up to Nora, he's like, I know what I need to do now, and he sort of blasts the power of the green.
It's quite funny because I actually think the last couple of pages where everything's normal in color are probably some of my least favorite. But like when the color just splashes through the black and white earlier in the book, and this issue and before, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, because that was a big thing as well in issue 1, or maybe it was 2, where we first did that, where he had these powers and it kind of made everything colorful for a second.
It was the very end. I think it was like the last page of issue 1.
No, really interesting stuff. But yeah.
I think it's a great little mini, and I think I said it on issue 1 or 2 when I was on a talk about it, that this very much is the Unkillables of this world for me right now.
Yeah, it feels like, because that ended up being my favorite thing of Deceased, and I loved Deceased as a whole, but Unkillables was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I really liked Allwinter. I think Down on Steel. I think I like Down on Steel more than you did because it just hits my vibe a little bit more. But I think this is significantly better.
I think it's just more focused. There's not like there's so many characters in the main story that's struggling. So many things.
This is half the length.
It's half the length. It's more focused on a few select characters. I just think, and that goes for both the main story and the backup. The focus, I think, really helps it a lot for me.
Yep. And notably, Unkillables was half the length as well.
That's
because that was only a 3 issue instead of the 6.
Yeah, they were like double sized though, if I remember correctly.
They might have been.
They were beefy boys, if I recall.
But there were still only 3 issues. Still counts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, how long was Darkness of Steel?
12.
Okay. All right, and this is...
It was 10 or 12.
Yeah.
It was long because it had some delays as well.
That's right. Okay, and this is 6 with also backups, so it's got a little bit extra.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like, even if you take the backups out and just look at the main story, I think, okay, go by that, and it's like half the length. I still think, even if you completely disregard the quality of the backups, which are very good, I still think this is the better book.
Yeah, the King Shark stuff was good in the backup stuff.
It was.
Yeah, I think even though I like this more than the main Darkness of Steel, this has made me more interested in the sequel because like I'm a bit more invested in the world now than I was before.
That makes sense, yeah.
So, if nothing else, that's achieved something. So yeah, pretty good, but no big surprise like a lot of the other issues had. And maybe a little bit too happy with the like magically bringing like all the people who died back to life.
Yeah, but I'm not sure entirely who to blame for that because, like, obviously I believe this is Kristoff's first comic work. He's a pretty accomplished fantasy writer in his own right, but that's it's not always a direct skill set translating from novelist to comic book writer. It is a different skill set
for sure. Yeah,
I think he's done a very good job here. I think he's like transitioned pretty seamlessly, but I don't want to necessarily blame him for the decision on the ending. It might well have been him. It might well have been he goes, no, this needs a spark of happiness at the end, or it could have been editorial / Tom Taylor being in charge of his own little corner and being like, no, I need this for the future of this world. Yeah,
and like, how much will it really affect if like Deathstroke's kids are around for whatever's coming later? I don't know if it will. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But
yeah, it's hard to say right now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still very good. Like it might be the least interesting issue technically, but it's certainly like if I sat down and read all 6 of these in one sitting, I think I'd be very satisfied with the little story I read.
I think this is going to be a great collection.
Yeah. All right, what are you rating Allwinter issue 6?
I'm going to give it an 8, but I'm acknowledging that probably on its own right as an issue it's probably a 7, but an 8 because it's a good conclusion to a story overall brings it up.
Yeah, I think I might even dip lower a little bit and say 7.5 just because the ending's a bit saccharine. It doesn't quite fit the tone of the rest, but it's I think as a whole, and this is a one way that reading monthly makes it a little bit worse because, like I say, if I read this in a trade in one go, I wouldn't have had time thinking about what the final issue would be, and I wouldn't be looking for like here I was looking for my dose of the next shot in the arm that I got from the last several issues. I was expecting that again, and I think we get that. So
plays a little bit differently because of that, but it is very good at what it's trying to do.